Well, hello everyone. I want to get us started with mixing watercolor paint. So today I am mixing paint. Here is a color wheel and there are 12 colors on there. 3 primary, 3 secondary, and all the colors in between. I'm working with my favorite brushes and I'll be glad to tell you about those in the description box, and Holbein Artists Watercolors. I'm going to be using a number 10 brush today. This is a round. It's a number 10. You can see it's not a small brush. Very often, new watercolorists start with a smaller brush, and what that does is it just tightens you up. Use a larger brush and it will help you tremendously. So I just want to show you some colors that I did mix. Here is my primary red, primary yellow, primary blue. And then a little earlier, I worked on these again. So I really do enjoy this primary red. This is a straight cobalt blue, and this is a combination of permanent yellow light and Aurelian, but more of the Aurelian than the permanent yellow light. This is a combination of sap green and viridian. So I have to tell you that I have added 2 colors that were not in the original box of 12 from Holbein, and that would be the cad orange. So I'm gonna just let you know straight up that these were the oranges that I mixed using vermilion and Aurelian, or combinations of Aurelian and permanent yellow light. But this cad orange is just beautiful. It's just beautiful. So straight out of the tube, this is the secondary orange. The second color I'm adding today would be opera. Opera, there's not a color like it. It's pink. It's hot pink. And the light fastness is just adorable, so it's not a good choice on its own. But if you mix it with other colors that are permanent, absolutely permanent, you can use the opera. So I thought today we would just mix paint. I want to show you some of the recipes and some of the tips that I have for you today. So let's just go ahead and start with that permanent red. What you want to do is take your big brush, this is a number 10, you dip it right into the vermilion. You can see that that's very intense. You want the consistency of tea. And I have noted the different consistencies in the description box. So here we have a good, strong, tea-like consistency of the vermilion. And because it's more of a orange red, I'm going to add some Crimson Lake to it. I'm going to mix the Crimson Lake up on the side. If I were to put this color into the vermilion, I would most likely overwhelm the vermilion and get nothing. So I'm just going to take a little corner and add enough of the Crimson Lake to give me that wonderful primary red. And here it is. There we go. As I mentioned earlier, the primary blue is a straight from the tray, out of the tube, cobalt blue. And there's my strong tea-like mixture. Cobalt blue, primary, my primary blue. There we go. All right, so just like the primary red, I need to mix 2 yellows to get the primary yellow. This is Aurelian. It's very intense. You know, it makes me think of mustard, yellow mustard. I want to get a strong, intense mixture. Add a little water to it. And I'm going to brighten it up with the permanent yellow light. So this is another one. I need a little more in there, don't I? This is another one that does not have the light fastness. So mixing it with, and it did brighten it up. Mixing it with the Aurelian gives it a nice primary yellow. Primary yellow. Now let's go back and do a review. When mixing colors, you want your colors to stand alone on the palette and then drag the secondary color into it. If I were to have dragged all of the Crimson Lake into the vermilion, it would have overwhelmed it. And then this becomes, I can't use it. So just a little bit at a time, until I get what I want. I did that to achieve the primary red and also the primary yellow. Well, let's mix up that secondary green. This is sap green. It is not in the box of 12, so now I'm adding a third color to the box of 12. And you can see on its own, it's not bad, but I think we could brighten it. So there's sap green, nice and intense, tea consistency. We're going to brighten it with Viridian. Viridian is the mint green. And we're going to add just a little. And you can see that's starting to brighten. And let's add just a little more. Red and green are opposites on the color wheel. And I'm very happy with that secondary green. So we have really had success in mixing colors so far. this is where I add the cad orange. This is cad orange, straight from the tube. Blue and orange are opposites on the color wheel, and I'm happy with that. All right, we're gonna add violet. Now I told you earlier to make the violet, I am adding the opera, this hot, wonderful pink. And we're gonna mix it with the cobalt blue. So we've got the cobalt blue down here, straight out of the tray. And we're going to add a little bit of blue to the opera. And I think I want a little more of the opera. Oh, okay. And now I need a little bit more of the blue because we're going for violet. There we go, violet. Okay, so success. So between each one of these colors on the color wheel, we have connecting colors. So we've got a yellow green, a red orange, a yellow orange, and a blue green. So let's just give it a whirl and see what happens. Let's start. I wanted to see what happens. That's pretty, isn't it? So there's more ways always to achieve color, and it's amazing as you work in watercolor how the colors open up to you. So we're gonna mix a raspberry. Let's go back to the blue. The cobalt. A little crimson. More crimson. And there's your raspberry. Isn't that pretty? Well, I'm calling it raspberry. It's red violet. That's the correct name, red violet. Now I'm thinking, what would have happened had I used the opera? Would it be brighter? Let's see. And I think so. I think so. So this is brighter than this. This would be my choice. Back to the secondary green, and let's add the permanent yellow to make the line, the color of lines. And I'm very happy with that. That makes me happy. That's a happy color right there. Let's work with the blue green. Back to the Viridian. Nice and strong. On its own, this might work on its own. And you can decide because it's very relative. So let's try it. Here's our blue-green, straight from the tube, Viridian. Isn't that a happy color? And you know, that's it. But you could add a little bit of blue to it, and it changes ever so slightly. Ever. You know, it's just a little bluer here than it is there. All right. I've been putting off this orange till the last. So we have a red orange. Here's our cad orange, everyone. Cad orange. Just bright, beautiful, intense. I can't think of a better choice for our orange. Straight from the tube. Now we're going to make a red orange, which means we've got to go over here and get some of this red and change it up. The red is just, the vermilion I should say, is just as intense as the orange. So it's a battle. But I believe we've got a red orange. Now we need a yellow orange. And then we've got all of the colors on the color wheel. So we need a yellow orange. I want to make sure my brush is clean, and I'm going to go for the permanent yellow light, and I'm going to add it up here. And there they are. Every color represented on the color wheel. Let's go over them. We've got the primary red, the primary blue, primary yellow, secondary green, orange, and secondary violet. This could be a little brighter. I'm going to show you something even brighter. We've got the yellow green, yellow orange, red violet. We need a blue violet. We'll mix that up here in a minute. But here's our blue green, blue green. So we need a blue violet. Back to the cobalt blue. And a tad of, there's our blue violet. So I will tell you this, you will fight for every color. Some colors will come easy the first time around. Other colors will take a little more time and practice. I'm going to show you that of all these colors right here, this is still my favorite secondary orange. So I don't know if my brush was dirty, but this is cad orange and I'm very happy with it. Well, everyone, quite a journey in mixing today. Holbein Artists Watercolors, there they are, as well as the Winsor Newton Scepter Gold brushes. Well, these are series 2, and of course the color wheel. Thank you for joining me.